I guess a way to describe this is an RWS witchy takeover, which is just fantastic, isn't it? Let's be honest. Hermit ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. Just gonna light a candle. I'm not sure if that will stay lit actually because I've got a fan on me. So it's a really hot day, but it's the early evening now, so hopefully things should start to get a little bit cooler. But I wanted to pop on and have a look at this deck, which is Ask the Witch, which is a tarot deck. It says Tarot Wisdom from a Timeless Coven. I don't know a lot about this deck. In fact, the first time I saw it was when I went to Becca's earlier in the week, and we always take some decks that we want to pass on or have a bit of a swap around. And Becca offered this up to me because she said that she just couldn't gel with it really. She felt that the images were great, but there's a lot of detail and she couldn't see all of the detail. So I had a look through and I actually quite liked it. So I said I would give it a go. So I thought we could have a look at it together today. As I said, I know very little about this. I don't even remember seeing a walkthrough from Becca. I'm assuming she would have done, but I must have missed that one. So it says Ask the Witch, 78 cards and guidebook, Tarot Wisdom from a Timeless Coven, and it's edited by Francesca Mattioni, and it's illustrated by Simone Pace. Ask the Witch Tarot. It's got a nice sturdy box with a magnetic closure and this lovely blue on the inside. On the back it says experience timeless wisdom from a magical coven of tarot witches. Witches throughout history, literature and mythology gather together in this fascinating tarot to bring you magic and wisdom of sage crones, ancient fairies, nocturnal creatures, and women of adventure and chaos. This intrepid coven, who represent global traditions from Cirque to Joan of Arc and Baba Yaga and many more, welcome the questions of beginners and advanced practitioners alike. This box set contains the Ask the Witch tarot deck and an accompanying 128-page full-colour hardcover book to decipher the witch's divinatory messages. So that sounds interesting. It is based on RWS, that I remember. It says hardcover book, but it's not. It's a soft cover book. Whether this is a second printing or something and they just haven't updated it. But as you can see here, you do get a nice full page colour image, and then you get who the card is depicted on. So here we've got the world. I wouldn't even begin to pronounce that. But here for the star, we have a radia. We have witch's spells at the bottom. We have a positive and negative keywords. We have Lilith for the devil. So I think this book will be Joan of Arc for strength. I think this book will be quite useful for reading about kind of the archetypes that are being depicted in here. And I love that we've got Caradwen here for the Empress. I love that it's being representation from across the globe, the sword bastet for the sun, which is really interesting. We don't have that for the minors though. So it's just the major cards where these are more kind of RWS scenic. As you can see, it's very RWS. So nice little book. At the beginning we get the content, so the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot decks, a little bit about that, the history and the stories of tarot cards, witches in tarot cards, how to use this deck, symbols of the major arcana, symbols of the minor arcana, reading and interpreting the tarot cards, and the witches' messages. So nice little book. What looks like we've got a bibliography or something at the end, a little bit about the creators. We've got quick reference guides for the cards at the back, whether we don't want the full meaning we can just flip to the back. The witches' messages of the major arcana. Again, we can see who everybody is here, from the Fool, Crazy Jane, Holder, the Chariot, etc. We've got some spreads. Yeah, so nice little book. It's one of those sets where we get a box within a box. So this is just a cardboard insert that fits into. So if you didn't want to have a big storage box, you could store it like this or carry it around like this. But I'll keep it in there because it fits nicely for the book as well. Okay, so these are big cards. Nice thick deck actually. I love the backs with the labyrinth on the backs. They have black borders, not massive borders. So to say there's a lot of detail in the card, they are a decent card size though. So if I do a size comparison here with a standard tarot size deck. Whoops, why can't I line it up today? What's up with me? You can see here that these are taller and wider than a standard tarot set. What I would say is these are crying out, I think, to be edged in black. And as if by magic, edged in black. I really like that. I think it sets off or finishes off the deck really beautifully. Now this is a chunky deck. And you know what? We talk about bonding with decks and things like that. Edging a deck really helps you to bond with the cards. No doubt somebody will ask me what pen I used, so I've used just a normal Sharpie permanent marker. I usually use the professional ones with the yellow grips at the side, but I couldn't see any of them when I bought them, so it's just the chisel tip. You can see it's got a little indentation now where it's gone along the edge of the cards. You can get a couple of decks out of each marker, maybe more, but I tend to do no more than two, just so I've got that nice sheen. But yeah, this is very much an RWS deck. It is, I guess a way to describe this is an RWS witchy takeover, which is just fantastic, isn't it? Let's be honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera down, we'll have a walk through, and then I'll come back and give my thoughts at the end. Okay, so that's the walkthrough of the cards. Kind of first impressions, it seems to be a deck of two halves. So, and I guess that's illustrated as well in the book, as I mentioned earlier, because for the majors, you get the characters which you don't. For instance, here, the lovers, we have Titania. And it tells you a little bit about, you know, the legends, cultural references, etc. According to the widespread theology during the darkest era, when they were being persecuted in the early modern ages in Europe and on the east coast of the United States, witches gained their evil powers by entering into pacts with the devil. So you get the history of the story, and I really like that, you know, and we've got witches from all over the globe, from different cultures, which I think is a real selling point. We've even got Morgan Le Fay here from the Celtic traditions, Caradwyn, Welsh, you know, it's great. But then we don't get that. We get things, we do get a detail, a description. In the Five of Wands, a group of witches challenging one another in a battle that is both playful and contentious, a personal conflict perhaps. Yeah, so it's like a little storybook, so I like that, but there is more of an investment, I think, into the majors. And what I notice here is the majors seem to be doing their own thing away from RWS, if that makes sense. I mean, if you can read RWS, you can read this deck, but it does seem to be having its own style relating to those cultural references and stories from around the world, which I love. It is kind of comic book, or perhaps not, graphic novel more. I love this death card, really love this death card. Kind of graphic novel in its art style. It is very female centric. There are males, but the central figures tend to be females within the deck. And again, I understand why when we hear about the references. And then you get to your minors, and it goes to a very RWS style, which is great. I like the colour changes as well. So we do, with the exception of some, we've got purple, these beautiful mauve purple backgrounds in the cups. The courts tend to do their own things. We've got this beautiful teal colour for the wands, with the exception of the odd card. And then when we get into swords, we've got these kind of orangey tones with purples. And then when we get to the pentacles, we've got this beautiful, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like a pinky orangey. I won't say salmon, maybe salmon is the best colour to describe it. Again, so RWS that, you know, it's easy to read with if you're familiar with the RWS system and the cards of the artwork of Pamela Coleman Smith, but very witchy. So I think it's a great deck. I am looking forward to working with it. I also want to keep the book close by to read about those cultural references. But overall, I think it's a really nice deck. The cardstock is really thick. Kind of reminds me of Schiffer's earlier cardstock with decks like Tarot of the She. So if you've got Tarot of the She or the first edition Marielle, it's that kind of thickness. So it does make quite a chunky deck. But yeah, if you like RWS, if you like witchy decks, playful in parts, a bit like Everyday, not Everyday Enchantment, Everyday Witch, and you also like to have kind of that sort of graphic novel feel, and cultural references from different traditions, then I would highly recommend Ask the Witch Tarot. This isn't an expensive deck. I think Becca says she got it on Amazon for about £15. When I looked, it had gone up a little bit, but the prices fluctuate on Amazon, as you're aware. It's currently on for £17. That's sterling, UK money. So I think you get it for probably about $22 if you're in the US. All right, well, thank you for watching. I hope everybody in the UK is surviving this heat. It is 6 p.m. and it's 90 degrees. So, yeah, keep cool, everybody. And until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.